Good evening, good morning, good night, and flying space butterfly day, ladies and gentlemen. This is another scene in Edessa: The Dark Crusade Chronicle, where we find ourselves in the Baldwin's gift area of Edessa. It's a nice, not especially crowded area that the Frankish settlers live in. It's where all the rich foreigners that aren't nobles live, essentially. And it's here we find Gael again, because as the Breton he is, it's more comfortable around this fellow Frankish, and he's just taking a night stroll. At which point, he would find himself in one of the open areas, maybe around where some merchant stores would be open in the morning. But right now, it's just a nice open area with a bench or something for if you want to sit down and have a chat. If Sir Ulric would probably would also find himself here at some point, probably, and they would meet in this area, I assume. Gael, having recently met him, would of course do a half bow in greeting. Like, good evening, Sir Ulric. Ashwood, was it not?
Yes, and OC, for some reason, I keep forgetting your character name.
I will write it, because my stupid camera doesn't allow me to have an overlay or anything ready. Okay. I'm not sure how I should pronounce it correctly.
Oh. Gael.
Yeah, Gael.
Right.
Because Gael.
He just says that then.
Yeah.
He doesn't appear again. Ulric himself is not armored.
Yeah. Nor is Gael, for that matter. He's dressed in like upper tier merchant clothes, essentially, at the moment.
Okay.
So what brings you out here for night's stroll?
Just trying to take in the night air, I suppose.
Aren't we all? Well, it was quite a meeting we attended. He kind of just puts his hand over his mouth for a second, and there were some opinions that were raised, but I think sensibility won out in the end.
And how many kind are around?
I wouldn't, since it's the middle of the night and this in the dark ages and people have work in the morning.
Not many.
Not many.
Okay.
And this is also the least crowded area.
Yeah. This area is not crowded. Okay.
I don't think there's anyone actually.
In which case,
I would say it's likely that there's no one on.
Okay. In which case, Ulric feels free to loosen his tongue and says, "Well, I was an observer for the most part, but I would agree. I will admit I'm not exactly a fan of having that particular prince on the throne, but if one wanted to fight, we'd certainly be in no position to do so. It would only result in needless loss of life."
Yes, wasting life is a bad decision, and total freedom insurrection is a fool's errand. There needs to be a system. There needs to be order, and I can understand your misgivings. About this particular person, or about this particular king. Okay, can Peter just write him? Or okay, I can just write him.
The two of them will notice or hear someone. It's a very low humming, but you can hear it coming down some ways off, and you can see another person just walking down, and at some point the person is close enough. Oh, good evening. Good evening to both of you.
Ah.
Madeleine will walk closer to the two of you.
Yeah.
Look at them and just, so, still walking around? It's, it can be dangerous, by yourself. She smiles and laughs a little under her breath. And should, oh, please, it's good to see you both again.
Yeah, likewise. Sister Madeleine. I think she introduced herself as such, so yeah, remembering stuff. We were just discussing the previous events that have taken place lately. The previous meeting that you also attended.
Indeed. It was, whatever his reasons for calling it, it is, well, prudent for everyone to
Discuss.
consider this.
It's prudent for everyone to consider the situation, and I made my opinion clear that whatever the canons of the city collectively decide, there still needs to be a system in place by the time Ezekiel has put his eyes on us. Some may call it tyranny, but whatever the canons of the city want to do, there needs to be order to create unity.
I believe the first step towards stabilizing this area and making sure our new prince is pleased is to galvanize the local kindred.
Yes. It's so easy to remember. Forget that.
This is not an area where any one person could brute force and dictate to the rest. And even if it were possible, it is generally an inefficient and cruel way of doing so.
Yes, if needless. The silk glove, the silk glove would do more here than the iron fist. For order to win true, for there to be a structure.
If one is to rule with those who hate them beneath them, they may want to make sure that fear or love trump that first.
Yes.
In which case, it would beg the question as to how to unify the local kindred, as all of us, well, we seem to be agreed that opposing the new prince is unwise, apart from Sir Santiago, who I'm sure we can convince to come to our way of thinking, at least to keep such faults in check for the time being, at the very least.
This is true. And I think, as if you're going to galvanize the local canons towards one purpose, one needs to, how to put this properly, establish a structure, and come with an idea for a structure in the first place, so people can adapt to the idea quickly. So that we can properly prepare for when Ezekiel's emissaries arrive.
Ulric raises an eyebrow at the formation of a structure, and well, he simply says, "A structure? You, what kind?" He seems curious.
Until now, we have all been able to do as we please. There's been no elders. There's been no existing social order here yet. No, no baron, no sheriff, nothing. Just been cats, young cats living together with all that entails. But for a body to function, there needs to be a head, there needs to be a functioning arm, the order. Does what essentially? Is that, do I need to speak more clearly?
So we are to enforce the six laws? He still seems somewhat, perhaps yes, he doesn't appear to entirely
Oh,
understand.
well, of course, traditions need to, of course, be enforced. There are the rules that govern our kind. But how can we as a city come to a decision? Uh, and by coming to a decision, I mean coming to a decision in any kind of effective manner without some kind of organized leadership. If everyone just has a say, then it can take forever to come with a decision. It can be, as we saw, some people have dissenting opinions, and it's easier to meet. There's easy, and who's going to bend the knee to the sequel. Uh,
Gentlemen, one moment. She just holds up. Madeline holds up her arm and just. She's. There's someone coming. There is someone coming. Yeah. One moment.
my apologies.
A man in a in priestly attire. He seems to be a man of the cloth. He's kind of kind of walking, leaning heavily on a staff with a large, decent-sized ball at the top. On one side is a depiction of the crucifixion. On the other is a depiction of the resurrection. It seems to be very decorative. Not too flashy, but it just seems to be a reminder of the death and resurrection of the founder of the Christian faith. And this man kind of walks down the pathway, the road, fairly at a decent pace. He doesn't seem to be looking for anything.
I mean, since we've all been in the city for 6 months, I assume at least the Sombra knows who this guy is.
Oh yeah, both of them would know this man. Ulric has known him for a couple of months, at least.
I probably just would know him by appearance.
Yes, and Ulric, as he's talking to you, he's kind of just he's kind of casually looking around as this happens, and he just goes, Father Petruccio, what a coincidence.
Gael turns and looks. Good evening, Father. How does your night fare?
It fares well. The crowds attend as they should. I haven't seen anyone missing yet. It's a good sign.
Indeed.
We were just discussing the current
Events.
political state of our holy lands.
On which side of reckoning? He kind of glances at the man he hasn't met.
You probably have seen him. My guy's been pretty, he's not been I'm going and talking to everyone, but, he's been around for 6 months, you've been around for 6 months, you probably know, you've probably met. You've probably just seen him, at least, in passing, he's a Ravnos on the Road of Kings stuff. I think you would probably know that because he generally uses that as an introduction.
He does ask, oh well, what manner of reckoning are we discussing? The Holy Lands, the Holy Lands by day or Holy Lands by night?
By night.
Madeleine will just at the side. She won't say anything at this point. She'll just shake her head lightly and just step a little bit back from the two. Sorry, it's not away from the two. It's whenever the father appears, she will stand a little bit away from him.
Okay, that's...
So, what in particular was the topic? I know I heard about the Turks, but that's on the daytime side of things.
I thought you heard the war has ended. That comes with implications, because the victor claims kingship over the Holy Lands and the Levant. This being Crusader states, is within those boundaries. So that's how to respond to Ezekiel is the topic at large. Sorry, out of character, if large is not the correct phrase there. Whatever. Large sounds like, yeah.
I wonder what he plans to do with it.
Yes. At this point, we can only wonder, but there was a meeting, rather a forum, where this was discussed, and it was an event. Let's put it that way. With a lot of differing opinions being presented. Not a lot, but two very big opposites.
It is usually the case when there's a big move like this.
We are most excitable creatures, but there was no violence, just a healthy course of discussion.
I'm pleased to hear that there was no violence. It seems like a low road.
I believe we were told not to come prepared for such a thing, so I doubt it was ever on the table, but then again...
What I find most curious is that there aren't any of the older ones already. He looks at Gael. You and I both came around the same time. There wasn't hardly anyone here before we got here.
Well, that's what makes the city unique, I think.
You'll hear a slight snicker from Madeleine, but she won't say anything.
Petruccio will nod, but he does. In his eye, you can just kind of see that he doesn't necessarily believe that that's the conclusion that he draws. That's not the conclusion he draws. You can kind of tell that. You don't need really.
It's like you can look at like my guys. Like it's not like that's the kind of the weird thing. Essentially, we'll see. At least that's the unusual factor, as it seems to be at the moment. That was what the moment that organized the meeting. Even Santiago, I believe, was very vocal about his how to properly put this, about his preferences when it comes to ideologies. And he found the current state of affairs to be to his liking, and he didn't want to have quote unquote tyranny imposed on us.
To be perfectly honest, well, since I've been here, the last 5 or 6 months have been quite pleasant, but we cannot expect this to last forever. At some point, there will be someone who will lay claim to the city as a whole, but I must at least agree that it has been pleasurable to not have a tyrant, as some would put it. But then again, you must also remember that Santiago is, you know, as they are, bourgeois, passionate.
Passion?
I I believe at the very least, the kindred of the city should be making, well, should be the new baron. We won't be able to stop the new prince from laying claim to the area, but with the barons, at least someone native to the area,
Yes.
as native as it gets, at least will be able to take care of it, as you'll have much larger concerns to be dealing
And
with.
look out, a good baron from among one of our own, or as you said, native. It does make a quotation mark, but it sort of makes it hard. It makes the equivalent of a quotation mark using his voice. Would be able to look after our interests more readily than someone who has just been placed in charge by, so, by a foreign, once again, a quote unquote, what we're saying, prince.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Something about nominating.
No, he didn't say. As I said, he said essentially it's better to have. He essentially said, just to be quick about it, that it's better to have someone among their own be in charge than someone that's just been placed there from the outside, because they can look after the people of the city's interests more easily than someone who's just suddenly been trusted. And, okay, you're in charge. Essentially, how it is that.
That is true, but depends on how much thought the good prince of Jerusalem would even give our fair city. If he is interested enough, yes, then he could impose his own puppet to rule us, but if there was one already
Yes.
and he did not care too much, then he might even just accept him as ruler and have him answer to him, and he would be satisfied. But then you would have the somewhat difficult task of having people choose a baron. But uh,
But yeah, as I said, if we already have him presented up, we've already have it presented Baron for whenever Ezekiel cares enough to cares, or of course he will care that uh, if you just already have a Baron in place, already have a system, a social order in place, I think he will accept it without imposing someone else. If we're willing to bend the knee, then why would we? Well, there are reasons, of course, why, but I don't think that would be a problem.
Then I believe the question remains is how we go about choosing such a baron.
and another more curious answer, perhaps, why isn't there one who has stepped forward already and claimed the position for himself?
I personally think there's, at least within the city, I think there's no singular canine that can just take or just claim it without.
Yes. Before you arrived, I was discussing Gael here that there is no one in a position to simply brute force their way into the role. It will have to be a decision made by the city rather than any one individual.
It seems so. The question is who has the drive or capacity to cause all of the inhabitants to agree, or most of them anyway.
Well, that is something that will reveal itself with time, I believe. I'm sure everyone has their candidate, or themselves, that they'd like to nominate.
Well, of course. If I go into it, when there's
Now,
apologies. Please proceed.
thank you. I have, for the moment, intend to observe and simply do the duty that I've always dealt in.
I personally think there's the nature.
Also a lie, so feel free to make it wrong.
If it's that, then that's okay. Oh, I will have to roll. Never mind. I don't have enough perception empathy to see through that.
Okay.
Well, perception empathy?
Perception empathy.
And what I was going to say was...
Seems legit.
Yeah, seems legit.
Whoa!
Seems trustworthy. I would take his word for it.
Defender wins, so you're almost there.
Oh, you have 4? Damn it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say you are the defender because you're actively trying to deceive someone.
I'm hiding my intentions from someone else, and they're trying to reveal them. At least that's the way it's always been done from my perspective.
Let's just say the defender wins then. Let's say you're the defender. Unless Sister Madeleine is again.
If not, then unfortunately, in Lady Madelain's case, it won't matter.
Yeah, it won't matter. They're in the same class. They're probably sharing this information.
He said he intends to sit back and observe for now, which isn't necessarily a lie more than it is a half-truth. It's not a totally true. It's not a completely true statement. There's a lot more to the statement, and part of it is a lie. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. Well, what Wilson said, I personally believe it's the nature of our kind. Always, when there's power to be had, we will strive to have it. That's how it works.
Although I'd like to find someone to set this at the least.
So, I just think that how to put this? We will have to not act quickly necessarily, but it needs to be discussed because he's coming. Dramatic as that may sound, just a crusader state that's not yet sworn its allegiance to the prince of the Levant and the Holy Lands needs to be put into place.
One step at a time, I suppose.
One step at a time.
And I'm sure the most worthy candidate will win. The honor.
Cool.
What concerns me more, to be honest? The Turks, the people behind them. There is no truth to them. They have agreed to no truth or any ceasing on hostilities. And some of the stories I have heard of the great clan Azamite is not the best and not the most uplifting tales.
I have fought them before. I will continue to do so. Do you suggest that the Assamites were connected to this Turkish incursion?
It would make sense, would it not?
I'll do what I can to look into it, but
Well, I would think, from what I know, their main land is further south, but also to the west, or to the east and the northeast, right?
true. But I believe the Assamites were considering a ceasefire, were they not?
As far as I know, there is no word yet. I might be wrong, and I might be needlessly nervous, but, well, I hope not. I hope that they will stay a very good distance from us, but we'll never know. From what we know, there are already some of them in the city, but, well. Ah, well. The man we met a little earlier. But did you not say he was a holy man of the Muslims in the city?
During the meeting, you mean? As I think there was at least one such individual there, yes.
You have heard rumors that they are quite connected through the Muslim faith, but I might be wrong.
It's something to look into now, isn't it?
It could very well be.
That'll have to be an avenue we consider. But if he clan of judges isn't intent on causing any further trouble, I would have personally no reason to escalate a conflict with them. Especially if their offers for ceasefire are taken by the prince. That could complicate things.
If you did good.
Complicated matters usually lead to a very difficult to clean up mess by the end of it. So I would prefer that matters do not descend into Arcadian levels of madness.
Madeleine just stands there and looks at you, and after a couple of moments, she just slowly nods, and she'll just, well, you know, if it all goes wrong, well, at least we will have people like you to defend us. And she smiles. As she'll just show him. It seems as though she's showing him some level of respect. Actually, quite a lot.
He does a quite he does the step back and bows forward, smiling almost a little bit playfully. Says, "'Tis always an honor to serve, my lady."
She seems she doesn't seem giddy, but it's close. She again just gives a little smile and just nods and then she'll again you can take a perception empathy roll. Everyone can do that.
Okay, well, my empathy is garbage, fortunately for you.
I don't know if there's also garbage. I blame Sir Ulric. It's his fault.
I get one success.
I get
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
The empathy monster wins again.
Yeah.
Empathy
This is
monster. Not like
charisma, empathy. Um, you can tell. Well, actually, no, because Defender wins, right?
Are you manipulating subterfuge?
No, I am doing a charisma empathy to make um,
but
Madeline
isn't
tries to come across as neutral and
but isn't that
naturally charming and just relaxed as possible.
It'll
but
probably
And
be.
isn't
none of you really,
that would
really.
be manipulation subterfuge? Manipulation isn't that the entire point of that spear pool? That's
It would
pool.
either be
Well, it's the
manipulation,
same dice
subterfuge, or
pool.
charisma.
It's the
Same
same
dice
dice
pool, in
pool,
which case it's
so
fine.
it doesn't matter.
Okay, it works.
It works.
But yeah, you don't. Yeah, Madeline is she seems fairly genuine, and she seems to be, yeah, she acts somewhat neutral, maybe a little bit passively, but she doesn't really go into clinch as in verbally with anyone, and seems, maybe you would say she seems pleasant. I'm not gonna.
Ah, so you are quite the defender then. Gael would say to Ulrich after this display. Are you well trained, if I may ask?
Oh, what's he asking? Sorry, what my profession is?
Okay, Dan, sorry if my mic is being or if I'm lagging. He asked essentially like he said you were quite the defender then. How skilled are you essentially? Like if he asked politely, essentially, how do you know your shit? Like how good are you?
Ulrich smiles and says, "Well, it has been my profession since my late teens. I've been learning the art of the sword for quite some time."
Ah, I'm in a similar position, not the art of the sword necessarily, but I've I've learned quite a lot during my travels. It's a I wouldn't say it's a passion of mine, but it's what got me into this life after all. It's always nice meeting a fellow enthusiast.
Ulrich just smiles and says, "Well, it appears we have more than one thing in common then."
And
Oh,
Gail just
gentlemen,
nods.
please excuse me. I must be going. It has been absolutely wonderful to meet you all. She'll just very lightly just smile and she won't shake their hand, but she will like curtsy in front of both of them and
It will polite, like sort of half bow towards her. It was a pleasure meeting. It was a pleasure conversing with you, sister.
you are too kind.
God be with you, sister.
You can all notice that Madeline doesn't say anything to that.
Well, Ulrich ignores it and just says, "Have a pleasant evening, my lady."
Yeah, and Emily begins, or not Emily, sorry. Madeline walks off, and yeah, she will leave the scene.
Yeah. Okay. Waving face. Anyway, after Madeline exits, Gail will turn to Sir Ulrich and my apologies, but as we're both enthusiasts of the art of the sword, as it may be, would you like to do a duel, a sparring duel, just to a little test of skill? Nothing too serious, of course. I'm just going to say that he conveniently finds two sticks on the ground because he's not going to go here.
Yeah, you just find some branch. It's just
That's suitable for this kind of thing, you know. Probably an old man or two lost a walking stick, so now we have it. No reason to shed blood if it's just a little contest.
Falls, just testing the waters, shaking off the rust.
Okay. So how we're just going to do this as T people is that we're just going to do 3 rolls, like beginning, middle, and end. Just no damage. Just going to be just a general little duel thing, and we're just going to. It's going to do it cinematically. The one with the most successes wins. So, we describe it by how much. So let's just do the rolls.
Okay, I'll do my first roll.
Do you want to do my rolls, or should I? Or do you trust me to do my own?
You
if
can.
I don't have a camera on.
I'll do my first rolls and then I'll just do yours because it's pretty easy. It's just I think it's 6 dice for both of us.
Yeah.
What? 6 dice, 6 times.
Yeah. 6 times. Yeah. Just roll 6 times. The 3 first are yours. The 3 next are mine. Just do it that way.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. That's still 4 successes. So that's 4.
That is 5. Well, that's 4. That's wonderful. Wonderful stuff.
Oh, a fail.
That was let's so. Now you get 6.
He gets 4, so he's back to 8.
He's 8. Okay, that's mine.
So he slumps during the middle of the fight. Oh.
I can, you dominate me through the first one, but I can show. I hold my own. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. I keep my defense there, but it's very different from the street fighting I'm used to.
You definitely begin retaking control throughout the second part of the fight, however.
I start seeing the pattern here, and I come in.
Yes. He slumps a bit. He gets a bit too lax and overconfident, and
then you take. I had 2, 3, 6. You beat me by 2. So while you won, you didn't won handling, but it wasn't an even fight like combined. You just won. It wasn't the kind of assault I was prepared for, essentially.
As Ulrich begins to slump throughout the middle of the fight, as the.
Yep.
It's more like it's almost like a children's. He begins because it's playing with sticks and starring his sparring match. He begins to take it less and less seriously, and he begins to relax, and his posture falters slightly, allowing you to make several blows in quick succession that catch him off guard quite suddenly.
Yeah, because since my god was trained in the streets, he's he doesn't. He always held his own, but it was after a fight, he was not very approving. It's like it's certainly it was after the fight is over, and it's just like, well, now that was an interesting display. I learned quite a lot from it, if I could say so myself. It was a learning experience. Half bows, once again, that's pretty. Of course, it cannot be a proper contest with these weapons, but still, tosses to probably smash sticks, because if you have potency, you just come in swinging. It was still interesting. Exactly, at least.
Well, I thank you for the contest, at least. It was entertaining and enlightening to engage in another enthusiast.
Yes. What did you say, Daniel?
Petruccio just says it was fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, it was certainly something. I was. We come certainly from different backgrounds in terms of style, at least. I will compliment your form. It was excellent.
I thank you. I believe I let it falter, perhaps, for a little bit too long. But nonetheless, you definitely know how to snap someone out of such laziness.
Yes. I'm personally... the sword is not my weapon of choice, anyway, which is... I'm more... You may have seen I was more in time if you use, let's say, a hatchet or a knife or that sort. It was more like he was fighting with that than a sword, which is where my mistake lay, I think. Well, anyway, it was a pleasure conversing with you both, and I at least hope to have more of such fruitful conversations on entertaining contests. Now, I will have to take my leave. And with
I
that,
trust you know where to find me. Or do you? I know he says I trust you remember where I serve. The Church of Saint Athanasius. If you should need anything.
I will keep that in mind. I think. Thank you. I wish you both a good day. With that, Gael will leave because stuff, and because a player has children knocking on his door, and this is getting annoying. So, waving face to everyone else. Bye.
When Petruccio watches Gael leave, looks to Ulric. That was certainly an interesting fellow.
Indeed. I met him briefly at the discussion with the Bruges Santiago. Some of our other compatriots were also there.
I was, well, I must be going for the night, but if you could... Oh, I was just wondering about something, discuss things. If you could visit the parish, sometime in the next week or so.
Of course.
We also need to have a proper meeting of the family alone.
Yes, there are quite a few of us here. I will make contact with Lady Madelain. We can discuss matters.
Yes, I think she likes you better anyway. I think he gestures to his robes. I think these put her off a little bit.
This garners a humoured smirk out of Ulric. Maybe this is just something the two of them have going for each other. Well, I do strive to leave a good impression. I'm sure she does not dislike you, though. I'm sure we shall all get along just fine.
Certainly. If you will excuse me, I'll be going. I need to see to a few things, but go with God, Sir Ulric.
Indeed, I shall. Good evening, Father Petruccio.
And Petruccio he'll give a bow, leaning still on his staff. He'll just kind of hobble off that direction.
Ulric smiles as he looks at the spiritual father of this city. Leave his view. Ulric meeting so many interesting people with so many interesting coincidences happening in one evening. He decides it would be good to rest now. Yes, that would be proper, he thinks. And he shall head off back towards the noble quarter to his haven and give himself time for contemplation and rejuvenation as the sun rises.